Place your scanner at the bottom of the body for the awareness of the...
Whoops. 11, 16, 20, 8, 3, and 9. Nobody had any of those? Jeez. All right. Homework check. If you don't have all the work shown, then don't come up here. Yes. Yep. 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 Blue Jan, all right. And Davis. Yep. Yep. And yeah. Fields. All right. In the back. Homework answers. Check your answers with what's coming up here on the screen. As soon as he finds the folder. It's in the basket. It says second period makeup test. It's black. I'll give him a chance to put those in there. Yeah, it says makeup test on it. All right, the answers for the homework. 100. Number 2 is 1245.83. 3 is 241.67. 4 is 88.89. 5 is 590.91. 6 is 634.38. 7 is 720. 8 is 827.59. 9 is 607.5. And 10 is 166.67. Add up how many you have right. Any questions on the homework? Number what? 10. Okay. Objectives for today: to solve mixture problems. And the specific learning targets. You must know and use proportions as well as percents. Example number 1. A 700 milliliter solution of acid and water contains 12% acid. If 120 milliliters of water is added, then what is the percent of acid? Step 1 is to find out how much acid you have of that 700 milliliters. So 700 times 0.12 is your first move. That will give you 84 milliliters of acid. Now the problem says we are going to add 120 milliliters of water. Our entire solution has 700 milliliters of contents. We're adding 120 milliliters to that. So our total now is 840 milliliters of some kind of content in the jar. That should be 820, just a mistake there, typo. Should be 820. Now we want to find out what percent of acid we have. And to do that, we know that we have 84 milliliters of acid, and we know that we have 820 milliliters of our total contents all combined. You must divide 84 by 820 to come up with 0.102439 and on out. To convert that to a percent, you must multiply it by 100. When you multiply by 100, you get 10.24390, and so on. But we want to round our answer to the nearest percent. It comes out to be 10%. Example number 2. A 600 milliliter solution of acid and water contains 15% acid. If 50 milliliters of water is added, then what is the percent of acid? Start by multiplying 15% by 600. This will let us know how much acid we have in milliliters. And that should come out to be 90 milliliters of acid. Next, we're adding 50 milliliters of water to our total contents. We start with 600, we're adding 50. That gives us 650. We know that we have 90 milliliters of acid. We know the total contents will be 650. So we must divide. 9 divided by 650. Actually, it's 90 divided by 650. And that comes out to be 0.1384 and on out. You must multiply that by 100 to come up with 13.846153 and so on. But we need the answer rounded to the nearest percent, and that's going to be 14%. Practice number 1. A 230 milliliter solution of acid and water contains 9% acid. If 40 milliliters of water is added, then what is the percent of acid? The solution for the practice problem, you must do 230 times 0.09 to find out how many milliliters of acid you have to start with. And that's going to be 20.7 milliliters of acid. Okay, we're adding 40 milliliters of water to this total contents of 230. So 230 plus 40 is going to be 270. 20.7 over 270 will give you the percent of acid after that addition. So 20.7 divided by 270 is 0.076 repeating. And when you multiply that by 100, you get 7.6 repeating. But you must change that to the nearest percent, so it's 8%. Practice number 2. A 1,000 milliliter solution of acid and water contains 24% acid. If 200 milliliters of water is added, then what is the percent of acid? The solution for the practice problem, let's find out how much acid we have in milliliters. 1,000 times 0.24 will give me 240. We're adding 200 to the 1,000. When you do that, you come up with 1,200. So now divide the amount of acid, which is 240, by the total contents, 1,200, to find the percent of acid. You may not even need a calculator for this. If you cancel there, you have 24 over 120, and 24 into itself once, into 120 5 times, is a fraction of 1/5, and 1/5 as a percent is 20. Practice number 3. A 400 milliliter solution of acid and water contains 12% acid. If 25 milliliters of water is added, then what is the percent of acid? Solution for the practice problem, let's find out how much acid we have in milliliters. That will be 400 times 0.12, which is 48. That's how much acid we have in milliliters. We're adding 25 milliliters of water to the 400, so that gives us 425 milliliters of water. 48 divided by 25 will give us what we're looking for. That comes out to be 0.1129, and when you multiply that by 100, you get 11.29, but round it to the nearest percent, it is 11.